So I'm going to conclude briefly. Um, Good news. There's hope. We have extraordinary young women, Samantha, Blythe, great. We have extraordinary mentors here, Alice and all the rest of you. And we've got extraordinary seniors who are giving back, Jan Vilcek and Marcia, and Neil Lane, who in his own way contributes. The bad news is that there's still so much, I don't need this, there's still so much harassment, a poignant story told by Saba. I mean, that was needed to be told. And we have a challenge, and that is we can't just gather and hear the same stories, not the same, but to hear stories of the same problems year after year after year. And I'm quite convinced that we can be effective with the Hopkins-style replicate, documenting these hugely detrimental, corrosive activities that just are in the way. And quite frankly, the country needs women scientists. And I do want to, there was a comment about the Y chromosome. Actually, the Y chromosome doesn't carry much. It certainly doesn't carry the intelligence genes. Probably not much more than sperm production or coding. But so I think it's critical, and I've told that to the Japanese University of Tokyo president, that Japan needed to bring their women back into the science, and they're doing an advanced program like that. And so I think we need to think about the immediate, which is the harassment problems, the difficulties that we can document. And I think a larger one I'll come back to is somehow figure out how we can work to participate in some way in extending education of girls. It's really, really critical. I have a granddaughter, she's 11, and I'm making damn sure she's going to be a very good mathematician, so that lets her be whatever else she wants to be. But I think it's the ages of between the 4th and the 8th grade that's so critical. And I think if there's something we can figure out, whether it's simply being noisy and petitioning, or whether it's actually doing something, and it needs to be international. The problems, Elodie, you talked about the kids, and I noticed that still, as I had when I went in the field, mostly the little boys are running around and the girls are hiding behind the trees and peeking. And so we need to make sure that these opportunities are provided. And I'll bring back Malala, who almost died simply because she wanted girls to be able to go to school. So that's where I think I will close the day. It's been incredible. This, Marianne, you and Carla and the staff, you were terrific. The people who've been here talking and discussing and sharing, it's been amazing, and it's very heartening. So I thank you, attendees, and I thank you, staff, and ask if there's any comments, if anybody wants to add.
I just have one comment, and I think it's consistent with what you already said. It would be nice to see some African American women here.
Yes.
And I can think of 3 that would be interesting to listen to.
Let Carla know.
And, okay.
What are the next steps for the 2 ideas that you tossed out? I mean, how does that become operationalized?
Carla, you answer.
We will definitely work on them. I think there's several ideas that have come up. The report card idea, some of the mentoring ideas we've talked about, sharing the stories we've talked about, all of these we will implement. Now, some of these we have to raise money to implement. The Marianne Liebert companies have been incredibly supportive of what we do, financially and otherwise. the work that we do continues, and we do it all the time. Some of the work is not expensive. The press releases we write, the letters we write, not expensive to do it all. We do it all the time and really important. Some of these other things that are a little more comprehensive, involve serious research. Many times we've mentioned the report that Nancy Hopkins did that was so very powerful. I think we'll give her a few months off as she retires, but we have her number in New York and in Cambridge. We've taken her and her husband out to dinner in terms of keeping the relationship going. Her husband is a very, very eminent lawyer, cares very much about these issues. I think there are many things we can do with Nancy in terms of replicating some of that research again in other contexts. So there are a lot of these things that we will put our heads together. We obviously have Rita on the end of the phone, which is very, very important to keep this going. Also, I just want a footnote, because it's something that we care deeply about. We have tried very hard to include minorities and women in this issue. When we talk about women in science, there are a lot of women who are minorities, and that's obviously included in that. In terms of in the room, if you look around, not too many men. We've got one stalwart here, we got one stalwart in the back. We've got to talk to men. They've got to hear what we're saying. We have to hear what they're saying. That's another effort of ours. It is not for lack of trying, I promise you. We do need to be reminded not to give up on that and to keep doing that, but we absolutely must do it.
Well, I just have an idea that I just wanted to mention on the, the report card, whatever you want to call it, the study, which is that I do think that the Scientific and Engineering Society would be very interested
Yes.
in part of this. Yeah, the Scientific and Engineering
Scientific and Engineering Societies would be very interested in partnering with you, would possibly even provide money. And also, while I can't speak for people like Fleming Krim at the National Science Foundation, he's got a number of directorates under him,
Yep.
including, he's a chemist, so I have a little connection with him. But, a number of the science directorates, the engineering directorate, combined, they have the opportunity to give, up to $50,000 without having it to go through this total peer review
Yeah.
thing. So I think there's a possibility of getting the funding together. I know speaking for ACS, I have a certain small amount of discretionary money that I
Right.
could give to a project like this.
Right. I think you're right. I think the professional societies are key because most of them have seen this issue
Yes.
with their members and have created resources for them. And so you in particular, but others here. The other is Larry Bonacer. I was sitting next to him at a meeting in
Yeah.
New York this year and found out what they're doing up at Cornell in engineering.
Right.
So I've already thought about him as a speaker for next year in terms of what they're doing in engineering, getting the president of Cornell, who's a physician, his scientist wife, getting both of them here to talk with us as well, and again, different perspectives. But the engineering piece is one that is missing too. But I think all of these are.
In terms of the uniqueness of what the Rosalind Franklin Society, I think, can do, other than all the wonderful things that you already do, that project is truly unique, because I don't believe that any other discipline is actually doing that, because it's a scary thing to get into. But banding together, there's a lot of programs, Rita, going on for mentoring kids in the 4th through 8th grade. There's so many different organizations doing that I'm not sure we have a unique contribution
But
to
at
that.
least partnering with them and patting them on
Yeah.
the back for doing it and giving them
Absolutely,
visibility.
giving them visibility and recognition, I think. But I think, in terms of something that Rosalind Franklin Society can do that would be unique and important, that would really, really be it.
Do we have a late report from Joe Handelsman?
I just
Wasn't-
nothing yet.
Nothing yet?
No, we're still got our fingers crossed.
I just want to thank all of you.
Okay, since I have the microphone, I just wanted to say I was really thrilled to be here yesterday and today. This was an unbelievably valuable experience for me, and I think for all of us. But I'll close with a quote. I probably shouldn't mention her name, but anyway, Hillary Clinton has been going around the country giving lots of speeches, and this is not about her possible candidacy. No, she has been saying everywhere that the 21st century will be known as the century of women.
Well, I want to thank all of you for for attending the conference and for your contributions, and urge you to contact us with your ideas and things you'd like to see us move forth on. We never ignore any suggestion. We answer all of our emails, and we think in a very fast, and we respond very quickly, we think very quickly, and we move very quickly. So on that note, I'm going to move to go catch a train. But I, again, thank you and thank my wonderful staff, because you couldn't find a better group to work with anywhere. So thanks so much. And Rita, thank you very much for being our second president. You're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah. Rita and Jack, the supportive husband, we must give mention to, who is still here and still supporting. And also, I know most of you have had contact with Ashley Weiss and Patty Haubner, who have put it all together, kept it going, kept us moving, kept us fed, and now getting us out of here. Thank you all. Safe travels home and happy holidays.